Right, so here we are, Jeff, back in your workshop after a long break, about 6 weeks or so since lockdown. I can be here legally because we're both wearing masks, and this is your place of work, and I'm a sort of work as well, so I think we're okay.
And we're at a distance.
Yes, we're keeping our 2 meters distance. Anyway, so what we're going to do now is have a quick run through of what you've been up to, apart from freezing to death because it's so cold at the moment.
We do have some eating.
Yes, you do at last, first time for a while.
Doesn't seem to go anywhere.
I know. Well, it's a very cold day. It's minus something, I don't know. Coldest.
I think he said -3.
Yes. Well, last night I was up most at night with dogs, not doing well, so yeah, it was.
It's
very
actually
cold
warmer outside than in here.
It's not quite, I don't think. No. Almost.
Well, it was first thing
this morning. Oh yeah. Right then. So what I'm looking at here, Jeff, is a very impressive looking billet engine that you've been working on for a long time.
Oh, it's
And you've been busy apparently doing the head, this bit here, because I know that.
I was just having a play over a couple of the lonely days.
Yes, in your little cave, milling away.
Yeah, it was. I've actually set it up and bored it for the buckets. Made cam caps. They're just a couple of mandrels I've got to
mimic the. So if I now lift this camera up and look down, what can we see?
I've bought. It's actually been bored for Kawasaki buckets.
Of course it has, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to twin it, but it's going too much.
Let me put the camera back on the floor again. So now tell us again.
Took many hours
of machining. I'm sure it has.
I'd use a tilt table and then I had to dial. I had to actually put a piece of that in and dial it to make sure when you tilt it, it's all.
I always remember you saying when it comes to trying to do these heads, the real problem is the porting. So I mean, I can see here that ports haven't yet been.
What I've done, I've gone in. I've got my drawing somewhere.
Yeah,
and if you look at it,
you see in there the ports aren't quite complete yet.
I've got to go in from that side because they're having bronze caps in there.
Okay, skulls, are they?
Yeah.
So-called
so
skulls.
they'll be put in.
Let me get the camera straight again. Straightish.
The reason for them bars on there is they can get clamped on there now.
Yeah.
And I can actually mark them with the drill. They're at 1 inch, but they will want a polish on a line borer or machine to
get it all nice and smooth.
It doesn't matter. There's enough room to probably go to another couple of mil over, but it doesn't really matter because we can get some cams made anyway and ground to suit.
Okay.
Just run straight in the head.
So you're not going to be using standard Kawasaki cams?
Because the centres are different now.
Okay.
The cam, there's no point.
It's all different. Okay.
So
now we're also working on something about the bottom end, the cases that you were. Different set of cases. It's difficult to keep up. So let me just refocus a second. I mean, you can't see much because they've got boxes on top of it. So we just temporarily move the. Here, Jeff. If you give me that, I'll reach over and grab it and move it out. Oops, there we go.
Quite a bit.
Put it over here just temporarily. And so this is the bottom end you're working on. This is for a different engine, I assume, or is it? I don't know. I can't keep up.
This is for this.
Right. Okay.
And I did buy 2 billets ages ago.
Yes.
To make another set of cases as spare, but I've had too many
just not had it
fingers in the pies.
Yes.
And next to that is the spares bike one.
Okay, yeah, there. Lots of billets. So what you were doing apparently, as I recall, is you were machining out these two ends to take a bigger bearing, is that right?
What it was, I originally did it and had it bored and was going to put shells on the end.
Yes.
And then suddenly I thought, no, we have some, I don't think it's in that one, but we've got a double roller bearing.
Okay. Big thing.
Meaning not a ball bearing. I think there's actually flat rollers.
Okay.
On each end, and obviously just run 2 bearings because the power, when you put the power on with a shell bearing crank, it pulls.
Yes, it can cause.
There was
damage.
problems, yeah.
Okay.
So
you did that again in the cold, in the quiet.
Yeah.
Just after Christmas.
Obviously, your 4 centre caps are still under the pressure.
Yes.
Because they've obviously got to go through and feed the big ends. So you've still.
So again, is this a standard Z crank or is this
this is
your special crank?
This was to a one-off crank.
Yes. And that's up there somewhere. I don't know where it is. It's up here.
It's down under.
It's here somewhere. Yeah. I don't know that you were. And that one-off crank came because you actually made it from steel, didn't you? You just made it. So that was something to do because you didn't have anything else to do.
It's not there at this minute. It's just that the money-wise.
Yeah.
My intentions are is to get it to something of put all the bits together
And sell it.
and hopefully
Find some fool out there who wants to buy it.
find some idiot, I mean nice person,
Rich person to buy it.
that
yes.
might want to buy it, yeah,
Okay, okay.
for a measly.
A measly few pounds.
The problem is with these, it's not so much buying and doing.
It's running it.
It's running.
Yes.
It's the running
Yes,
and
it's-
keeping.
Maintenance and so
Yeah.
on. Well, so it breaks, you've had it, haven't you?
Yeah.
You need a new one of them. Okay,
So
that's what you've been up to.
it's
Now,
gonna be a
also, I
challenge.
should notice you've been up to, because you've now got if I swing around a wee bit here, to your Honda, you've now got a seat for it that you've
thanks
made.
to you. Yeah.
Yes,
well,
just-
when I fiberglass that of yours, I did.
Yes,
this
you did
one.
mine, yeah.
It's-
Although yours looks a lot neater than mine. I suppose
Well,
yours looks like the Mark II version.
Well, I've not trimmed that one yet. I just trimmed.
Yes.
This is like you say again. Has got to have
A bit more work yet.
a couple of thin bits of aluminium. I'm going to thread it and then fiberglass them in so
Yes,
that.
they can be bolted up.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, what I was going to do is actually get something like quarter aluminium.
Yeah.
Screw.
Actually, I think
I
that
suppose
might
they
be
don't look very elegant, but
No.
you know them coach bolts, the
Oh,
6
yes,
mils,
yes, they're the big ones,
with
yeah.
like a flatter head.
Yes.
Screw them into like a aluminium strip, say
Yes.
8 mil quarter.
Yes.
Thread them in, Loctite them,
Yeah.
and then so it's
Just
like
have a stud. Yes.
And do it at the back, so then you can push it on
And then drop it down.
and then just
That's
put
what I'm
like
gonna do with my Z, yeah.
four nylon nuts on
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Okay, so that's that. So you're by your fire down there, trying to keep
So
warm.
that's a bit of.
If I now swing round again and refocus yet again, just a second. Right, okay, so
We're out there.
I've now dragged you away from your heater because you're freezing cold.
No.
And what we're looking at now is the Artec welder that I got last week now, and brought it over to you in a box, and you've been playing with it.
Yep.
And the first slight disaster was that when you you got your power lead on,
Yeah.
and you were just telling me then that you got the roll of wire that goes inside.
Yeah, and what did idiot do?
Go on.
The tape thing round it. I thought, oh, cut that off and put it in.
Yes.
No, bad idea.
Because?
It was like it was like opening a can of worms. Took the wire out, let it go, and it just. I've never seen anything. It's
Because the wire was wound so tight.
It must be on a
and
real.
it unwound very
tension,
quickly
yeah.
and went everywhere.
It lost probably about 10 or 20 bloody
Feet.
spools. And it all ended up on the floor.
Oh,
It
God.
went round my head, and then I tried
Well,
to
for you,
move
Lou.
back, pulled it onto the bloody floor,
And it damaged them. So, oh well, whatever.
damaged it. It was like something out of
Nightmare.
Laurel and Hardy.
Oh well, I wish it was there actually. I wish
It
it was
was
here to
quite
film
funny,
it.
actually.
Yeah, I should have been here to film it, but never mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you've not had a go with it yet, but you're going to have a crack at it soon.
Well, what I thought was, like I've just said, I thought I'll get it on a trolley.
Yes.
Because if you're welding things,
Yes.
I don't want it going on the floor because
No.
it's going to be subject to getting
Not
dust and
yes.
crap. So I want to make like a tea sort of trolley
Yes, a
size
little
thing,
trolley. Yes.
and you can have all your
Bits and bobs in, yeah.
your welding bits and stuff on it.
Right. Okay.
So if you're working, wherever you're working, you can put the welder in the most favourable place.
Yes.
Because the thing with the MIG, you want to try and keep the feed, your actual gun, as straight as possible.
Right.
I would imagine you don't want it going through half a dozen bends.
No kinks.
Yeah.
Particularly the gas hose as well.
Yeah, because the straighter you can keep that, I think the ease of the wire coming through,
yes.
it's a lot better.
Okay, so that's good.
So-
Now,
Do you want me back over?
yeah, well, we'll swap now, and we'll keep our distance. I'll go over there, and you come over here. Right. So we changed positions, and we're now looking at your workbench once again.
Do you know the only thing that we didn't do?
Hold on, you're jumping ahead again, but never mind.
Oh,
Let's start again, so we know what we're talking about. What's that in your hand, Jeff? What is that?
that is a Oh,
Squeak, squeak, squeak. There's a mouse stuck in there.
yep. That is a fixed
Homemade?
cam chain. Yeah, that's a standard one.
Standard
We've got a
cam chain
yeah.
adjuster for a Kawasaki Z.
And this one.
And you've made
is
one?
Yeah. So where you just tighten it and it can't back off.
Yes, and what I've just done is had a nut welded. Hang on, you got a shot. Welded on the end of it and then domed.
That-
Wait, it won't focus on that.
Oh right.
Let me just refocus a second. Right, hopefully you can see that now. It's got a threaded bar, nut welded on the end, and there's a lot of weld being built up on top of that nut. The reason being that, Jeff, do you want me to do it?
We're going to sort of put like a bit of a dome on it. I'll
Yes,
skim the
machine
little
it.
corners
Yeah,
off the hex and then probably just put it in the lathe and just go around it with a file and a bit of wet and dry.
And the reason
until
it's
got
because
like
it's going to be pressing on something like that.
There we go.
That is the
it's got to go.
tensioner blade for inside the engine.
Yeah, even though that's a worn one. I think when you get them new, they've got like a little bit of a dimple.
Yes,
so
right.
it
Let me go back a bit.
oh, right.
There we go. So yes, that presses on
So
there.
it wants to go into there.
Yes.
And push.
Yes. And that's what we're doing. So,
Yeah.
and you, of course, being you, didn't just make one. You made lots of them.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. But
box of
unfortunately, what have I done? They're for the Z.
Yes, they're not the same, are they?
A lot of
The
people
earlier
thought-
Z
yeah.
and the later GP-Zs are different. The mounting holes are in
I
different
think
places.
it's about 4. It's either no, it's probably maybe 6 mil difference in
Yes,
the bolt hole
yes.
centres. Why on earth they never just kept them bloody
Because
the same? I'll
just a
never
bit
know.
different.
Yeah.
So anyway, what we've got to do with that now is, as you say, finish off that threaded bar and its dome on the end of it, and then you're going to do a bit more machining on that shaft to make sure it's the correct length to fit in the back of the...
Was that timed?
Barrels.
What I might have to do, instead of leaving that there, I noticed on that, they have a little O-ring in there.
Oh, yeah.
So what I'm going to have to do is screw something into that, so when that screws in, it's got a little recess, so we
An
can
O-ring.
stick an O-ring in
Okay,
it.
cool.
Les will probably end up just putting some silicone on the
Yes.
face anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but I think if we'll put an O-ring in it, it'll be better. Tight it. And,
Oh yeah, so to go back slightly, this has been made for my GPZ 1170 engine to go on it, because the engine's now almost finished, just needs that to go in, and then the pretty much that's it apart from ignition, which is good, right, so that's that. Fire. Okay, so we come round close to the fire where Jeff can warm a bit because it's bloody freezing today.
no, I'm not. What? It's my bloody hands.
Yes,
Bloody
yes.
it's old age. I
Hang on,
think.
hang on. What we come over here for, hang on, my camera's getting old, wibbly wobbly, bear with me for a sec, stupid tripod. Right, so we come round here, spin round, and we see the Honda drag bike project, and its engine is here, and looking very nice.
Barrel-less, yeah.
Barrels.
Oh, the barrels there.
Barrels there.
Sorry, yeah.
Barrels there. And below it, there is a whole range of little metal
Pistons
things.
for the,
Pistons,
for the
well.
comp bike. Pistons for what I was going to use for that.
Yes.
This
Well, they're not pistons, are they? They are
Well,
billet
blanks
pieces,
at the minute.
blanks that you've started. These are homemade pistons, by the way.
to be honest, the work. Do you know the serious part of machining is what I was discussing with Lister. The serious part of machining is your gudgeon pinhole
Yes.
and your ring grooves. You know, doing the diameter and hollowing it out and getting the weight off it is easy.
Is it? Okay, well, if you say so.
But the critical part, what I've got to do with them, I've noticed.
Well, is it for the accuracy then of getting that?
What it is, it's obviously because there's the warm. You want that ring in there as tight as possible because when they are going to loose,
Yes.
you know, obviously the rings are going to not expand as much as that, so they want to be as snug in there as
Possible.
As possible. You don't want them to rattle, or when it warms, it's going to be even worse.
So anyway, these are blanks that you've made, which aren't obviously finished yet. There's quite a lot.
No.
Some of them are for the Honda. And we were just saying then, before you popped out to get some
we have our genuine rings.
Rings, yes. So who makes them? Are they for
Well,
Honda?
them are made by
I mean, genuine for what? What are they made to fit?
Nippon.
Nippon, okay.
Nippon, the 66mm. I think you can get loads of Chinese stuff on the market.
Yes, which may or may
Don't
not
get
be.
me wrong, it might work alright for a run.
Yes,
You
if
don't-
it was bang, yeah. Well, you don't take risks inside the engine, do you,
yeah.
really?
I could get Honda rings,
Yes.
but the mistake, the Honda rings, the oil rings are cast iron, and that can cause problems. You want a split ring
Okay.
with what you're doing.
Okay.
You know what do they call
So how many have you
them?
got there? You got 4,
Yeah, there's enough to do
two pairs,
two pairs.
a twin. So now all you got to do is machine up a pair of pistons and you'll be away.
Well, what we've got, put that on there. What we've got in a box here, we've got
Yes.
2 billets already partly.
Prepped. One
That's 70-75.
Yeah.
And there's 2 pieces that were logged. It was written on as HE15, which is aerospace stuff.
Yes.
Which is so. I've done that because I don't want to get them mixed
No,
up. Because
no.
of weight and
Yes,
what have
yes.
you.
And,
So
you got to have a match pair.
I'd rather keep, yeah. So what we've got to do now with them, I've got a 15mm. I need to set it up in the miller. What I'm going to do first is I could put that in the vice in a little jig. But I think what I'll do is order some H30 billet, because the critical thing is what you don't want to do with that. It's getting the hole dead in the centre.
Yes.
You know, it's got to be
Spot on.
a couple. You're talking thousands. You know,
Yes.
you want to be working to
Yes.
and it's very difficult to measure because you want to actually get it right in the middle.
So how are you going to do it then? How would you do that?
My only thing is to actually buy some 6082 billet, machine it to the diameter,
Yes.
and then just set it up, and then you can do one and adjust it. So once you know you've got it in
In the right place.
in the middle, and once you've set your stop that way, you
Yes.
know then.
Right. So is that going to be for a sort of test piece then, and then you?
Yeah, this
When
is
you're
the
happy with the
problem when
test
you're doing
piece.
something. It's the setting up of
Yes.
everything that's
Okay.
that's the critical part.
Okay. Cool.
The only other thing you can do is you run something like probably put some the 16mm, because we've got our rods that they're going on.
Yes.
They've got to be reamed to 16.
Okay. And those rods are from
Them are off a
500. Was it a CB 500 one? Is that called?
oh no, they're the they're Kawasaki.
Oh, okay.
I think they're the Kawasaki rods, I think.
Got mixed up.
Or
Anyway, the non-standard rods.
they're a lot stronger than
and then a CB
than
305s, whatever.
yeah. I think the Unitrack rods then
Okay.
that we've had taken down on the width so they'll
Right.
fit between the crank webs.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so that once we have what I have to do then is set them up on the little rotary table, because they need holes drilling in them for the oil, which I've looked at some pistons and they seem to be half and half with the oil ring groove, which means ideally they want drilling in it before you put the groove in,
Yes.
which it's not going to be easy if you've got to go half and half, unless you're using a little slot drill.
Yes.
And
Oh,
even
God.
then, but you're only
Sounds
talking.
complicated, Jeff.
It's not complicated. It's
Well,
the setting
it's-
up.
sounds like a lot of time.
It's time and setting up.
Yes.
But the question is, it's buying pistons that will.
Well, I did find some 66mm in America, low compression, and it turned out they're out of stock. So God knows when it's going to be.
You see, what I want to do is do what I've done with them. I'd like to just put. Actually, what I want to do is pop them in the lathe, and I'd like to machine them so that they're actually
Domed. Not domed. Concave.
concaved.
Yes. We can do that, can't we?
And finding concave pistons is very for 66mm is
Well,
obviously not
weren't we
easy.
talking to your mate Pete? Was it who had the turbo Kawasaki Z 13, and he got a set of pistons made Paul? Sorry.
Oh yeah, he had them made in
He got them made in
Birmingham.
Birmingham somewhere. He said, "Oh, you can get them made." He had 4 made. It wasn't,
yeah.
you know. It's so that's a possibility.
I mean, they're the Kawasaki ones, but even they're not quite flat top because
No.
they're still raised a little bit there in the middle.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's no scope for removing it. If you try to remove anything off it, you're just gonna
Weaken it.
it's just gonna blow it to pieces.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Okay, so there's all the issues with the making pistons for this thing. Apart from that, the frame's looking okay. You've still got to weld up the back aluminium seat unit, which hopefully will be quite easy for you. Now you've got your new welder, which can do aluminium.
Play with that.
Have a play, yes, have a play. And then the rest of it, I mean, you've got your barrels there. Anything else? So if you had your pistons right now, it was all ready to go, could you build that engine up right now? Or what's missing?
What I've got to do, there's a little bit. I've brought all gearbox bits in.
Yes.
And what it is, you need to switch off, and I need to sort this gearbox selector out.
Is that because the gearbox is from a CB 750, not a
This
305?
CB 750 parts.
Yes. Oh, mixed together.
And,
A 3-speed box, as I remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and what we've had done here, I don't know if I mentioned this last time.
I've probably forgotten.
That one was done, but what's happened with it is because it's got it moves. It actually
Wobble on it.
it
Wheel.
wobbles. That
I take it
has to
shouldn't
be an absolute. Well, what happens is
Sliding
if you try and
foot.
twist it
Yeah.
and it can do that,
And it'll jam up
it's
your
just
gears.
going to jam.
Yes.
It's got to move precision.
So is that because that's worn, or because you need a new one?
No, it's so many pieces put together
Oh,
and
I
then
see.
machined.
Right.
But obviously, when it was machined last, it's gone.
Bit too far.
It's gone under. I mean, ideally.
So are you going to do another one? And
Yeah, ideally, what would be nice is getting it all in level and then having it ground.
smooth it? Yeah.
Grind. What happens is if you're machining that, because it's got so many little it's bouncing. It can go and once it's got undulations in it, like all them grooves. The only way of getting that spot on would be to get it ground, which is probably what we'll have to do.
Right. Okay.
You-
Okay,
you-
Jeff, I'll stop. My battery's about to run out, so
Oh.
I'll have to stop here. We'll catch up with those particular
All
things
right.
another day. And I better get home now and go and see the dog. He's not very well, and we'll catch up another day. So thanks for watching, everybody, and cheers.